Good evening. How you doing? How y'all doing out there? This is Chris. Give me about 5 seconds for people to come on. I want to be able to say a couple things to you, and hopefully by tomorrow when you see this, you'll have something to talk about. First of all, I want to be able to let everyone know, especially all the veterans. I'd like all veterans who have served in Afghanistan. Many of you have been a bit dismayed this past week. Certainly some of my friends who are veterans who served in the Air Force and served in the Army specifically about what we saw in Afghanistan. And I want to make certain that it doesn't leave my mind to say thank you for your service and thank you for those who believed in the mission, who believed in our country, and believed that we did things and did them the right way. So I don't want you to think that after 20 years that it ended the way it ended, and that you don't feel as though it mattered. Your service did matter, and I appreciate your service. I appreciate your service deeply. I want that to be said. I want it to be said loudly, because it's very important. On that line of thought, I want to take 30 seconds to talk about leadership, and certainly, or lack of leadership, rather. Either way, at the tough times, you'll see leadership, and then you'll find out more. My cross is showing. You'll find more about leadership than ever before when things get very, very difficult. I've had very much strong conversations with people regarding some of the decisions here in Huntsville, some of the local decisions that are being made recently. And as many of you know, especially those who live in North Huntsville, it's this opportunity in North, East, South, and West. There's an opportunity for you to see the explosive growth of Huntsville. Huntsville is growing. We finished, I think, number 3 this year on the U.S. News and World Report for great places to live. I'm very proud of the way that the Huntsville brand is starting to become national. We always have had a strong brand when it came down to missile defense and a lot of the accomplishments that our city has had. So we're reaping the benefits of that, where people around the country who are trying to find a new place to live are pointing on the map and saying, hey, Huntsville's the place where I want to live, I want to work, I want to raise my family. And certainly that's an awesome thumbs up to the hard work of people who established this community many years ago. So the people of Huntsville, you should feel proud that the people who have been here for generations, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you going through the more difficult times when Huntsville wasn't always popular. Well, we knew Huntsville was popular, but the world didn't know what we knew. Now they know. And we're starting to see our roads get a little bit more congested. And we're finding out that University Drive at 5 o'clock is not where you want to be. And at the same time, being from Huntsville, raised in Huntsville, being from Alabama, this is a great, great city. It's a great opportunity to be in a great, great state. And you're part of it. If you're here in Huntsville, you're a part of our growth. You're part of where we're going. You're part of the magic that's starting to happen here. And for those of you who aren't from here, enjoy it, add value to it, and we really would appreciate it. I do want to make certain that there are some things that I'm concerned about. One of them is that when a city grows, it starts to lose the culture of what it was built upon. Sometimes it's as simple as progress and change. You know, new businesses come, old businesses go away. New facilities come, old facilities are pushed down. But what comes with that is an understanding of how leadership communicates with the community. Just like we see in Afghanistan, there's a total failed collapse of leadership in communication. And the kind of communication for us is one thing, but for those people who are trapped in Afghanistan right now, they need to have the ability to have a stronger, faster communication that could have saved their lives. And our prayers are with those people who were still behind enemy lines. But even here in Huntsville, we realize that we have the ability to have great communications. We've got text messages, email. We have a mailbox. We've got Facebook. We've got so many different vestiges for communication. And I think that our leadership sometimes fails to use the tools that we have to let us know what's going on in the community, right? So this week, J.O. Johnson was, I don't know, it's hard for me to talk about J.O. Johnson High School being demolished. It's an opportunity just to be truthful that some things change, but tearing down or demolishing J.O. Johnson High School is probably the greatest crime committed in this community. It's one that trespasses upon the tens of thousands of relationships that were made at J.O. Johnson High School. It was the center, the gravity of our lives growing up, to walk those halls and sing those songs and support those teams. It was the place where young kids became teenagers and where they got their first kiss, and it's the place where they got their first date. J.O. Johnson High School is not just a name, it's a brand that burns inside of our heart and inside of our souls. And to understand the depth and depravity of progress is one thing. We understand progress. However, when you have a building, a facility that not only is the main building, but the whole purpose was to educate and to train. Just as recently as last month, the police academy and the police and fire and here in Huntsville were using it to train police officers and train firemen and firewomen. And so it had that training capacity. J.O. Johnson for almost 50 years was the place where we became smarter, we became more educated, we became better people and to join and prepare us to be a part of society. So ultimately, the name itself is what it is, but it's a memorial complex. It's a memorial building. It was memorialized in a way that is special to all of us. It was an opportunity for the world to know that city of Huntsville, Alabama was different, and that whether you're black, you're white, Asian, didn't matter. J.O. Johnson was built to be the symbol out of the civil rights movement that, in fact, we were the experiment, that we could be educated together, we could eat, we could laugh, we could play. And certainly it has a special gut feeling in Huntsville because of that kind of excellence. And that's where we are in this society right now. What's sad is that the imagery of what I call the greatest crime in Huntsville, of tearing down a building that had the same opportunity as the Grissom building. Butler has two high schools that are still open and still being used. They've been repurposed and used for other purposes. Huntsville High has built a new building and it's still there. Lee High School built new buildings on their property and it's still there. This is the only school in Huntsville that has succumbed to being physically torn down in a way that doesn't add concrete value. And let's be honest, I'm all about progress. I love entrepreneurship. I love people who want to make investments. But I'm concerned that I don't know enough, we don't know enough as a community about who is investing in J.O. Johnson High School. Because to say we want to tear down to put up $300,000 houses is concerning to me. Because in my community, for as long as I know, is that heartbeat called J.O. Johnson is deeper and wider than someone want to make a few bucks, a few dollars. Well, we're just going to go over there to the baseball field and we're going to build a street right through there. We're going to put up houses and they're going to be $300,000 homes that increase your property value. What it really does is increase gentrification. That's what it really does. And at the end of the day, what we want to have is we want to have a community that decides to grow, but is respectful of its past. We want a community that gives us the amenities and values that we want, but understand that some parts of town are just residential. We don't need an amphitheater inside of our neighborhood. I mean, people want to sleep at 8 o'clock at night or whatever it may be. I don't want to be in the middle of an amphitheater. Some people do. But the reality is that when I want to be not emotional, but all business, let's talk about the business side of this. So you want to tear down J.L. Johnson, which you have started to tear down already. But you let the trophies inside that building from 1972, hundreds of trophies that represented not just sports, but JROTC, the Marine JROTC, the choir, the chorus, the marching band, had banners, championship banners and pictures. And those things are still in the building while they're tearing it down. They are being the city of Huntsville. The city of Huntsville has so many resources. We have a mayor, we have a city council that can build all over town. But if we're going to deconstruct and tear down, what are you putting there instead? Oh, the Johnson Legacy Center. The new gym that they put there is supposed to be some type of token like, here you go, we're going to leave this up for you, but we're still going to build $300,000 homes right there, which is interesting. And I love development, but I don't think that plan really and truly fits our needs. We're in the middle of COVID. At this point in time, at J.L. Johnson High School, for instance, the school board rep, Michelle Watkins, this year, asked for J.L. Johnson to be returned back to the city of Huntsville schools. She asked for that building and property back because her schools needed more room and space. We don't have the ability to grow a whole lot. But what we do want to do is take care of the kids. And during COVID, we didn't want kids stacked on top of each other. And the ultimate part of growth is that as schools grow, sometimes if there's an emergency, and like we have now when kids have to be apart, we needed that school. We needed that building. And Huntsville City Schools could have made that building something more than what it is now, which is torn down or being torn down. And my heart grieves. It's personal for me, and I'm trying to keep my hands folded and postured, but as a leader, I clearly understand the rules of communication. And one of the things that you understand for all elected officials is understand what the law says, first of all. J.L. Johnson High School qualified as a memorial building, as a memorial school. The state of Alabama has what's called the Alabama Preservation Memorial Act. And what that does, it protects conversations like we're having right now. If there is a building or facility that's named after someone, then the city or the county must go to the state and say, hey, we have an older building here and, we'd like to tear it down or we'd like to move it. If the building's over 40 years old, it's almost impossible for them if it's on a city property. But the reality is that this building was on city property because police and fire were still using the building. But for some reason, when people talk about Confederate monuments that people want to move or take down, there's a lot of clamor, a lot of conversation, a lot of passion. But because of a memorial of a building, it didn't represent a Confederate. It represented James Oliver Johnson, someone who was an educator, someone who also served in the military for 31 years, someone who also commanded African-American troops and helped integrate the Army when we got past the segregation period of 1948 when the Army was integrated. So J.L. Johnson, he died in a car accident. And 2 years later, they decided to go ahead and name a school after him. This school that represented the first large high school that had integrated neighborhoods, North Huntsville. It was black and white. It was a big experiment. This is right after the 60s. So Johnson had a civil rights history, a legacy that was being birthed because of its ability to be a symbol of progress for integration. I love Johnson High School like many of you do as well. And I'm going to continue to have these conversations. But I'm very concerned that the city councilman did not check with the law of the state of Alabama. And in fact, you could have paid a $25,000 fine. If you move a memorial building or demolish a building, there's only a $25,000 fine. But the problem is I spoke with the city councilman by text, by Facebook, and simply said, please take a look at the law before you tear this memorial building down. Because you have an oath of office. And the oath of office says that you'll play by the rules. You'll You'll play by, if we get a speeding ticket, we have to pay it. If we get arrested, we have to go see a judge. Just because you are a political elected official doesn't mean that you can just break a state law and be able to say, oh, I don't care, I want to build houses. That's a little bit concerning for me. I'm more concerned about the efficacy and safety of our community. I'm more concerned that we have the ability not to gentrify a community when people are having a hard time finding a place to rent a home in North Huntsville. Rental home rates in North Huntsville are up to $1,400, $1,500. And now to say, well, we want to go ahead and build new $300,000 homes. Well, I saw some of the homes that they were built, and I saw some of the material that they're building with, and that's not what I would call a $300,000 home that I would buy, but someone possibly would, and I understand that. The more important part of this is that the community should have a conversation about how do you extend the conversation with this family of J.O. Johnson Jaguars. Because if you're an elected official and you demolish Johnson High School, you're probably not going to get elected again. It's probably not going to happen. You probably have had your last day as a city councilman because the people of this community feel like we could have done a lot more with that building. Was the building old? Yes, but it was in better condition than Butler or Grissom when they transitioned to become other uses. And why is it the only high school in North Huntsville, all the other schools, no school has ever been torn down and eliminated? But now this community in this side of town, which is predominantly African American at this point, you tear down their legacy, history, heritage, and tradition. And the retort is, we just want to build new homes. Well, I want to know who the developer of the homes are. I want to see the contract of how much did you give this city property to private developers? Did you sell it to developers or did you give it to them for free? I want to see the contracts. I want to see the receipts. I have officially asked for that from the city of Huntsville. I want to see everything that transpired at that J.O. Johnson property. And when we do see that, I think we can have a better conversation. But what I'm not going to do is be full of emotion and full of anger and those type of things, because now we're going to do business with you. The business that we're going to do is we're going to hold you accountable, right? Because it seems that sometimes, I don't want to call them lies, but let's just say shades of truth. The reality is, don't break the law. It's a memorial building. Did you inform the state that you were going to tear down a building that you may not legally have had the right to tear down? And of course, I know the answer to that question, but I'm asking the city of Huntsville, I'm asking the city councilman of District 1, did you do your due diligence? Did you go ask the state? Did you break the law? Did you intentionally break the law? Because I specifically asked you, make certain that you clear destroying this building with the state of Alabama. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay for us to be able to understand. I don't care about what color a developer is. I don't care what they do. That's not the point. The point is, for instance, someone has something to say here. Mika Keith Rice, you say it's a black builder. What does a black builder have to do with anything? What does color have to do with that? Mika, I don't understand what you're talking about. Lee was torn down, I survived. What are you talking about? Let's get your facts straight. I don't mind you disagree with what I say, but let me get you straight for a minute. A black builder, white builder, or whatever the builder is, it doesn't matter. Why would they name a street after them? That's the J.O. Johnson property. They named the street after themselves. I don't care what color they are. You don't come into our community, and if it's the Stanley Construction, they went to Huntsville High, okay? Or they went to a private school called Randolph. They didn't come to us and say, this is what we're going to do. No one's doing anything for free. I don't know what they got for the property. I don't know, did the city sell them the property? We don't know. But you do understand what a memorial building is. That's not tripping. We're not being emotional here. Let's deal in facts and not emotion. The law says that you cannot tear down a building, move a memorial building by the State of Alabama Preservation Act. That's the law. Don't be mad at me. Go to the law. And Steve Marshall, the Attorney General of the state of Alabama, has already come out and said elected officials who ignore the law are violating their oath of office. Just because you can do something, the law says do it the right way. And tearing down J.O. Johnson without checking with Laura Hall. Laura Hall is our District 19 rep here in Huntsville. She sits on the Alabama Preservation Committee. And I've spoken to Representative Hall. No one came to her, and she's on the committee that makes a determination of whether or not a building should be torn down or not, or a statue moved or not. And she also served as a teacher at J.O. Johnson, and she has served as our House rep, and she serves on the committee. Did the city of Huntsville, did the city councilman, when he put his plan together with his developer, did he ensure that the stadium that he may have torn down or whatever it may be, did you clear it and do it the right way? That's the most important thing, is that we're held as citizens in a community to the rule of law. And when you break the law, they come for you. And the question becomes, if you didn't do it the right way, the city of Huntsville, which is represented by Mr. Keith, if he didn't do it the right way, then he needs to be held accountable. If he did everything the right way, if he did what he was supposed to do and did his due diligence, great, awesome. I just want to see the paperwork. But when I asked Mr. Keith about it, he seemed a little bit reticent. And then all of a sudden they start tearing down the building. So the trophies that are inside, even if they did want to tear it down, and let's say they just want to violate the law, they could have had respect for the parents who invested so much into their children. The brother who took their kids to school every day to be in choir, to be in band, to compete all over the country, and to have those trophies. They could have been put in storage. The city of Huntsville has plenty of storage space. They have buildings everywhere. They could have made it a part of a museum. They could have put it in the Athletic Hall of Fame. There's hundreds of trophies. I saw them. I have pictures of them. And they're just getting torn down and demolished. Why? You go down to Grissom High School, you see their trophies since 1972. You go to Lee High School, they've got trophies from whenever. For Huntsville High School, Butler High School has two school buildings. One's a church, one's a brewery now. They held on to if you go to the brewery, you can still see the old stone middle school and the lockers from when it was Butler. This is about heritage. This is about community. This is about growing responsibly. This is about us saying, yes, we want economic development, but we don't have to sacrifice 50 years of tradition of Black excellence and throw it away. We're different from Lee. We're different from Huntsville. We're different from Butler High. We did things that many people did not do. We saw blue and gold. We didn't see black and white. But it's hard to acknowledge that we had African Americans who became great people in the society, and their memories are gone. We have professors. We've got physicists. We've got people who worked on NASA programs that sent the space shuttle to the moon. Not to the moon, but in space. We have, for instance, Dr. Selwyn Vickers, who's over UAB Hospital right now in UAB Medical School. We have Emmy Award winners, people who have won Grammy Awards. Kelvin Wooten, one of our greatest treasures in Huntsville, who's a Grammy Award nominee. Well, you have to understand there's so many people who've done so many amazing things in this community connected to Johnson High School. And for some reason, for my leaders, you didn't care. Yes, you said you held meetings. Yes, you said, listen, you're the caretaker. You're the one. If you see though this institution is a living institution, yes, you created a building. They saved the building on the side, but they turned into an indoor soccer arena with the weight room. We have the lowest test scores in the city in some of our schools. We need empowerment facilities. We could have turned Johnson High School into a museum. It could have been the first African-American museum in Huntsville because we really don't have one, right? It could have been an opportunity to celebrate the heritage and tradition and values of this community, right? Those are things you don't get a second whack at. And that's why the state of Alabama created the Alabama Preservation Act, to make certain there's a stopgap before a city and a city councilman makes a decision to tear down something for the sake of money. And I love money. I mean, money is awesome. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sacrifice my soul, all right, for a few bucks. Meaning, if you're going to sell the land to developers, right? What did you sell it for? How much did you sell it for? What is going to be the use of making it a park, or you want retail spaces? That's great. But you could have preserved that building, that beautiful building that you were just using last month. And you could have made it extremely special, right? It's not too late, but I just want to know if you guys got something to say. Let me read a few questions. I've just been running my mouth. Dino Conley. Mika, give your ears the same time you're giving your mouth. He's stating facts and dropping jewels. No need for distractions. Continue on, good brother. Well, let me talk about the other schools. Lee High School. Let's just be honest. Lee High School was named after Confederate General Lee, who commanded the Army of the Confederate States. That was what he did. And that school had a lot of legacy, heritage, and tradition. A lot of great leaders came out of Lee High School. I have no disrespect for Lee High School, the people. And there are people who want to change the Lee High School name, but they never have changed the Lee High School name. It's been there since, 1958 or whatever it is. It's a predominantly African-American school, has been so for a long time. Lee High School flourished. But that's Lee. Grissom High School, they got a new building, and Grissom High School were able to transform their old building. Their building was really in bad shape down there. But they were able to transform it, to keep the auditorium and keep some really key spaces in that building that's really nice. If you ever go down to the old Grissom High School, you'll be able to see how the city of Huntsville did an amazing job turning that into the Moon Center. It was a great job that they did. Now, when they built the new Grissom High School, they took all their trophies, all of their banners from the old school, and they put them in the new Grissom High School. I celebrate them because that's their culture and history, that parents can walk in and say, hey, this is my school. I went here too. Huntsville High School has had to redevelop on their land, and Huntsville's the oldest school. Huntsville has never changed its name, has never left that site, and people still look up to dear old Huntsville High Crimson Panthers. And they are a school that has deep tradition, and the people and the grandparents in that neighborhood, they still support that school because they have a connection to it. Butler High had two schools. They had the one now that's a church, and then the older one that's the Stone School. The church is still there. That Butler High School is a beautiful facility. They went in, they really took care of it. They really and truly rebuilt the inside of the school. It's an amazing conversation piece, but it has a utility space that uplifts the community in that neighborhood. They didn't tear it down and build new houses. They didn't do that. If they wanted to build new houses, there was no need to tear down the old Butler High School, and it serves the community incredibly right now. And there was an actual river underneath Butler High School, a creek of water that they could never turn off. But that didn't stop them from fixing the problem after years and years, and now it's a wonderful, beautiful church. I love what Johnson High School was, and it will always be. I do believe that people have good intentions. I do believe that development is great. I support development, but I support the responsibility of leaders to communicate a clear message and to be able to say, not only are we going to think about tearing it down, and yes, there is a Johnson Legacy Center there, but the reality is, I don't think we went to the end of time to see what we could have done with that Johnson Memorial Building. And certainly, there's a lot of things that we could, and continue to educate. We could have had a media center in that building. It could have been a full motion television studio. We could have had recording studio. We could have had all type of digital spaces and a museum that would have reflected our entire community. There's many things that we could have done. And certainly there are some architects and there's some planners that went to Johnson High School. There's one I'm not going to name in Nashville, Tennessee, that has done amazing spaces. And he said, man, if we got a hold of that building, I could do some real special things with that thing. And he knows who I am. And he has, as a matter of fact, he helped build one of the new dorms at Alabama A&M. So I do understand progress. I do understand great development. But I think what's important to understand as a community, it's more important that we don't become the Mohican Indians. Because 100 years from now, they'll know about Grissom High School because the trophies are there. Huntsville High will still be there. And that's amazing. But J.O. Johnson is gone forever. When that building goes, a Johnson Legacy Center that's just a soccer gym, it brings no value. We are very smart people. We are very intelligent people. And if you've got some questions, come on, ask me some questions. Stop me from talking. All you, Johnson, who has got a question out there? Let's see. Who's got a good question? I'm scrolling. Anyone ask me a question? Ask me a question. Minka Rice says, well, you don't go to town hall meetings. I've been to a lot of town hall meetings, and I've said the same thing over and over again. She says, well, Lee was torn down. Lee wasn't torn down. Lee's still a school. The old building at Lee, because you may not know this, was so dilapidated that it had birds flying in the building. Okay? I was there. I saw it. And they rebuilt, and they had a building of a beautiful building on Meridian Street. And it's called Lee High School. So let's keep moving on. Let's see what else. It's amazing how people get in their feelings. And I don't mind people getting in their feelings because someone will come behind me and they'll say, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what I know? I know a couple things. I know the mothers that I saw crying when I was out there yesterday. I know the grandmothers who rolled up and saw their building being demolished. I saw their tears. I saw what the pain was. It was not a reminiscing of just brick and mortar. It was the pain of their memories. People who've gone to J.O. Johnson who've buried their brothers and their sisters. People who've gone there who've battled cancer. They were able to reach out to other classmates to get strength. People who met their husbands and their wives there were hugged yesterday and just brawling. This is not a time for people who are new to the community. This is a 50-year tradition of excellence, and it has no markings anywhere. You go to the Legacy Center, you'll see a uniform, a basketball, a couple trophies, and that's it. But there are over 600 or 700 trophies that are being demolished, thrown into the dust, as if those accomplishments don't matter. And during a time when people talk about Black Lives Matter, well, Black excellence matters too. And celebrating that Black excellence is something that's important. But forget color, because at some point, we have to be able to play by the rules. I don't think that it was done the right way. If it wasn't done the right way, somebody needs to be held accountable. Did you tear down a memorial building that was dedicated to the community? Did you tear it down in absence of the law, against the law of the state of Alabama, that's over buildings like J.O. Johnson? And actually, Laura Hall, your state rep, sits on that committee. Did you send it to her and say, hey, before we tear this down, we need to check with you to see this is legal? Or did you say, forget that, why don't we just tear it down and ask questions later because we have houses to build? Well, let me share with you. When I was over there yesterday, I saw the skies purple and black. Clouds were everywhere. And you could see the brick that had been torn down. This is the scene of the crime. I went to the scene of the crime and I saw the machines that had been tearing down Johnson. I look up at the sky and I saw thunderstorms. And I got in my car. As soon as I got in my car it started just brutally thunderstorming, as if tears were falling from the sky. And those tears were the J.O. Johnson Jaguars. Many of them are no longer alive. Those tears were the tears of the parents who sent their kids to that school. Parents who smiled, who sent me to the school. My parents didn't send me to that school just to get an education. They didn't send me to a building. They sent me somewhere so that I could transform my life, that I could have great friendships that would last forever. That's not something that's easy to swallow. And whether it happened today or tomorrow, I think that it should have been done the right way. If you could have said, we're going to do it on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, come out here and have your last look, take pictures. This is the last time. That's all you had to do. But no, you didn't want to do that. You didn't want to come out in front of a camera and say, this is a sad day for our community. You didn't want to come out here and be a grown man and have respect. But don't have developers out there just saying, we're just about to, and someone was live and some guy just walked up and said, we're about to build some houses. This is the type of disrespect and the pain that you've caused. City Councilman, I've never spoken to you personally about this recently. I've attended a lot of meetings. I just know that touching that building the way that it was touched up, I pray for you. I do. Because that is a symbol of failed leadership. Just tell someone before the funeral, before you kill something, that you're going to kill it. And yes, there has been communication that there is going to be development there. Yes, there has been communication to that end. Absolutely, there has been. And there's been equal pushback to try to get some things different. And then people will come out and say, leaders, oh, well, it wasn't ADA compliant or it was not good shape. It wasn't anything. Well, that sounds all political, but I'm coming from the heart, right? Because the kids who go to Huntsville, they can go to Huntsville High and see Huntsville High. The kids who go to Butler, they got two schools they can go to. The buildings are still there. The kids who go to Grissom, they got two schools, the old Grissom and the new Grissom. Those building facilities are still there. Lee High School is still there. But you're going to say to us that you want to give us a soccer building and put Johnson Legacy Center on it. My friend, a legacy is not a soccer building. It's not a thing. Man, I really and truly, for those who have called me, those who have who've cried on my shoulder, I can't go back and replace a brick. I can't go back and hear that fight song. I can't go back and go into that gym and see the ghost of 50 years of people who competed there. I can't go back and hug the teachers who, many of them have gone on. I've done some things in this life that are pretty good, I think. But I'd be nothing without J.O. Johnson Jaguars. I wouldn't have gone to the University of Michigan. I wouldn't have graduated with a great degree. I wouldn't have been a 4-time Big Ten champion. I wouldn't have had a life in engineering and business development and understanding the power of progress. I get it. I'm not trying to bang on someone. I just need to understand that all the babies that were born from the relationships after high school, all the marriages, and all the people who we've buried can never go back there and see the original J.O. Johnson building, even if it was part of the building. It's not about me. And the leaders need to understand that we just want you to communicate, Not saying go to this meeting or that meeting. Communicate a message of how you can preserve excellence. Don't come to people and say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We just need to tear it down. That school was it was a unique architectural building that was in good condition. But what I do understand more than anything is I'm going to continue to always serve the people, now more than ever, because I understand now that all of us aren't in the back rooms of City Hall when they're cutting the back deals. I tried to reach out to the developer, who I thought was a developer. They wouldn't even call me. I just want to know, did you buy the property or what are you doing? And Jaguar Hills, that's a great street with some nice houses on it. I'm not knocking that. But you can chew and walk at the same time. We don't have to destroy parts of Huntsville to build it up. And because we have a lack of housing in Huntsville, people are just tearing things down. Look, I'm snotty nosed, I'm crying, I'm hurt. To all my friends, I will always hurt for you and with you. For those of you who believe that things should be done the right way, the legal way. And when someone responds, and they'll respond to this video, they'll respond, ask them, did they do it the legal way? And if they didn't do it the legal way, are they prepared to resign their position? If they didn't go to Ms. Hall or they didn't go to the state of Alabama Attorney General and check with the Alabama Memorial Preservation Act, because they went through ups and downs when it was a Confederate statue. Oh yeah, we gotta tear that down. We gotta move all that. But I never expect you come to J.O. Johnson and no one's saying anything besides we want to build some new houses. Well, I'm embarrassed because I got snot in my nose. But more than anything, it's love. It really is. Well, thanks for hearing me rant. And I'll be back. And all you families and legacies and those that will never, ever, ever, ever see that great building again, let's get together. Let's link up. But the next time we choose leaders, the next time we say that we see your name on the ballot, the next time you think that you want to be able to come to our streets and corners and proclaim that you want to be a leader in our community, and you tore down J.O. Johnson, you might as well find another place to lead from. You might as well put your name on the ballot somewhere else. Because as long as I have breath in my body, as long as I'm on this side of the earth, I'm going to be a J.O. Johnson Jaguar till the casket drop. And when that casket drop, I'm still going to haunt you in the middle of the night. But nobody comes to the J.O. Johnson Jaguar community and illegally move the greatest monument memorial in the history of Huntsville and believe that you'll be able to politically survive. So if you have a vision for your career in politics, if you think you want to run again for city council, or maybe you want to run again for another position, how can you do that? How can you do that and honestly believe that we're going to get on board and support you? We can't. Listen, be prosperous, people. People are calling you every day for you to, possibly sell your home. People want Huntsville to grow. I want it to grow. People want prosperity. We want prosperity. People now want to find somewhere where they can pay rent. You can't even get a rental space for less than $1,400. That's reasonable. So things are changing. I'm not a dinosaur. I understand change. Hold on. I understand change happens, and I want to be a part of that change. But what I do more than anything, no, and I'm crying and snot crying because I love Johnson. I'm sorry, I just do. I do want us to live in peace and harmony. I don't want people to think of beefs or any of that. I just want accountability, and I want peace and love, and I want Jail Johnson to live and breathe and be vibrant. And that's in our hearts. It's in our minds. We've got the high school over there called Jemison High School. And just so that I'm clear, Jemison High School is a Jaguar school. It's blue and gold. They represent the spirit of the Jaguar. But I just didn't agree with Jemison having her name on our building. I don't think that any living human being should have their name on a K through 12 school. I don't care if his name is Donald Trump. Donald Trump should not have his name on a K through 12 school. All right. I don't care who it is. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. It does. My own mama. Nobody should have their name, if they're still alive, on a K through 12 school, because you can make money off of that. You can go get defense contracts. You can use that in your pitch when you're trying to better your business. I don't think that anyone should have a right to have their school on the name, their school on the building, who's still alive, because you can't and I can't get that. We're all equal. We should be equal, and no human being should be memorialized while they're alive. We're tearing down J.L. Johnson, which was memorialized when he was killed in a car accident. But we give a name to Mae Jemison on a K through 12 school, and she's still alive. Wonderful astronaut, incredible person that we should all aspire our kids to be, someone who was the first in what she did. Applaud her for her career. But only until after she's dead in the ground should she have a name on the building named after her. And that goes for anybody. I'm not banging on the fact that she has a name. I'm saying I've never been a fan of names on buildings when people are still alive. Now, especially I'm not a fan when it's a K through 12 school, because they could do something that can be embarrassing to those kids. And I think it's too much risk. So I do believe that the Jemison High School name should come down. I don't think it should be called Jemison. They can move it to the academy or put it on the auditorium, great, or whatever. But the school name itself probably should be different. Well, that's where I'm at. I don't know where I'm going to be on this Lee High School thing. That's going to be so weird for me because, I mean, Lee High School people, they're proud of their school too, and people are trying to tear it down or remove the name as we speak. So that's going to be interesting. Any more questions before I go? Any more questions? Any more questions? Let's see. Nadine, how you doing, love? Yolanda, how you doing? Reggie, Carmen, Miss Chun, how you doing? I'm just going to say my goodbye. Shannon Wembley, how you doing, my man? Good, good, good. So if you got any questions, just inbox me. And I apologize. Thank you for having the heart, just so that we'll be able to have the type of communication that we have, to be able to resonate that we have one city, we have one state. I love the state of Alabama. I think Alabama is growing, and it's growing fast. But when it comes down to leadership, I just want us to know, let's have people who have good intentions. Sometimes people have good intentions and things just turn out wrong, right? That happens. And even with the Johnson situation, maybe the city councilman had good intentions, but the execution was horrible. You could have easily alarmed and said, hey, this is the last day. You could easily protect the trophies. You could easily do that. It's city of Huntsville. You have immense resources to get that done. And I think that's important. I mean, just like what's happening in Afghanistan. I want to end on this. Afghanistan is a travesty. It's probably one of the most embarrassing things that we all are living through. Our prayers must be up for those 10,000 Americans who are being held hostage by the Taliban. And hopefully they come home. Prayerfully they come home. And we don't have time to point fingers or we could have did this. And it makes us all feel, I don't know. I mean, America, we always believed that we were able to do big and great things and to communicate those big, great things. Whether it's J.L. Johnson, Yes, people have been talking about it, and yes, they've been executing it. But just saying we're gonna throw some $300,000 homes. Do we need $300,000 homes in North Huntsville? Maybe. Okay, fine. But what are we doing for these children? I mean, we have a space for kicking around a soccer ball and lifting weights, but that's not an empowerment center for our creators, for our artists, for those who are able to make great music, for those who want to have, they could use the auditorium as a dance studio. There are so many things about learning and excellence that happened at J.L. Johnson. It's not excellence, but right now it's the scene of the crime. I hope, again, that we're able to come together. And I charge you to go over to J.L. Johnson. If you haven't seen it, I would say go over and take a look at it. Make certain in your prayers tonight that you include those Afghanistan people who helped the United States of America for the past 20 years. We have 10,000 or so Americans, but we've got, 40, 50,000 who helped us to help rebuild that country. Let's keep them in our prayers. And certainly, I'm back. I'm going to be on the scene, and I'm going to be with you. If you all want to hug somewhere and get together, I'm down with that. Let me make certain I got it. So, Chris, you mean all the trophies and all the memorabilia? I saw about 600 trophies myself, and I have pictures of those. Some of them are my trophies, but because some people were told that they can come get some trophies or not, I don't know what the situation was. But I know I won a lot of trophies at Johnson. Very few people have won more trophies with that blue and gold than myself. Nobody called me and say, go over there and get your trophies. That didn't happen. And those are my team trophies. That's our family trophies. That's for all of us. The city of Huntsville could caretake that history. They could caretake that legacy of excellence. And so that we one day are not in a museum of archaeology somewhere. Daryl Claxton, let's see. I'm just answering questions. Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. I am an adopted Jaguar. Yes, you are, my friend. Lisa Drake. Never change it. All right. Lehigh, the name. All right. Anything else? If you all have anything, inbox me. It's been great talking to you. It's good to see you all again. During COVID, we've been locked up. We've not been able to link up. But for all you creators out there, you artists, you painters, I encourage you to go over there to the school, man. Make certain. I mean, we had a big mural in the gym that used to say, come together over me. And it was so important because, like I said, J.L. Johnson was a civil rights memorial. People don't understand that J.L. Johnson was an experiment. This is just after integration. Black and white people didn't go to school together. J.L. Johnson is built. And it's a snub in the face to say, this is a black and white neighborhood. We're not going to have to bus everybody to this school. And this is an integrated community. And we had very few issues at that school. Black staff, white staff. It was just all jumbled up. Just people, just Jaguars. And that's an important part of American history. That's not Edmund Pettus Bridge. It's not 16th Street Baptist Church. I get it. And when people always want to memorialize things when it comes down to Huntsville, it's always a church or a pastor. We have a great institution at J.L. Johnson that created brilliant minds and great people who've had incredible accomplishments. These tears are going to stop, but not tonight. And you all have a good night. And I thank you again. Inbox me. Those who want to go out and grab some coffee, let me know. And let's get it done. But all you leaders and potential leaders out there, let's go win us some offices, man. Let's go get elected. Let's go create you got to create competition. You just can't talk about it. You just can't be emotional about it. I'm emotional because I have every reason to be, as many of you are as well. But now it's time to go elect people that reflect your values, who are going to protect what's important to you. And I hope that we get that done. I love you, Huntsville. I love you, Alabama. And let's talk soon. Good night. Love you.